deposit repurposing of funds. Item number 5 and 6, we will make a request to take those items together. Roosevelt Bagby. Roosevelt, good morning to you. You should receive that invitation to join us as a panelist for items number 5 and 6. You should receive that invitation shortly. We'll move on to item number 7, Wanda Eeps. And Wanda, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name, EPPS. Eeps or Eps. And you can correct me once you get on as a panelist. And then Nancy Lanton. Nancy, you should receive that invitation also to join us as a panelist. Again, thank you very much for accepting those invitations as quickly as possible. We are trying to get started by 10:10 in about 2 minutes. Item number 8 will be presented by Noor Malhis. Noor, you should receive that invitation to join us. Item number 9, Marina Quinones. Marina, good morning to you. You should receive that invitation to join us shortly. Item numbers 10 and 11, Fernando Gonzalez. Fernando, good morning to you. You should receive that invitation to join us for items number 10 and 11, and we will make a request to take those items together as well. Item number 12, Pam Perez. Pam, good morning to you. You should receive that invitation to join us as a panelist as well for item number 12. Item number 13, Bernadette Halverson. Bernadette, good morning to you. And also James Rosca. James, I see you on the line. I do not see Bernadette Halverson on the line just yet. James, once you receive that invitation to join us as a panelist, just confirm if you can take the item for item 13 as a lead. I do not see Bernadette Halverson on the line just yet.
Hi, Dr. Campos. I'll be presenting on the item for today.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. 14, no presenters on item 14. Item 15 through 17, no presenters. We will ask the board to take those items together as well. That's 15 through 17. Item number 18, Angelo Gopal. Angelo, good morning to you. If you are on the line, you may be user ID 49457. If that is you, if you can just raise your hand, I can go ahead and add you to the panel at that time. Item number 19 will be requested to be continued to Friday, October 21st, 2022, to allow the staff to complete a couple of assignments before presenting to our board. Again, this is for item number 19, a request to continue the item to Friday, October 21st, 2021. Angelo, good morning to you, and thank you for raising your hand. You should receive that invitation to join us. You can go ahead and rename your user ID once you join us as a panelist. At this time, it is 10:10. We are trying to get started in the next couple of seconds. At this time, I'm going to move forward with any callers on the line from the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. At this time, again, this is for members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9, or you can click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. At this time, we have one caller on the line that has raised their hand. Caller ending in 688. Caller ending in 688. Which item would you like to speak on? I'm sorry, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone by pressing *6. There you go. Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Campos. I would like to speak in general public comment and maybe on item number 4 if it isn't continued.
Great. Well, I'll put you down for both. Item number 4, there will be a request to continue item number 4 to next Friday, October 14th. However, if the board does consider the item today, we will definitely put you in for the queue for item 4.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last call for any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon. Seeing no other hands raised, we'll go ahead and have the commissioners open up their mics and also their video cam, and we'll go ahead and highlight those commissioners to the general public. Commissioner Corzine, you should receive that invitation to join us as a panelist as well. My apologies for not sending you that invite a little earlier. Larry, you have your hand raised. Is it quick?
Yes. Could you please add Ronaldo Saldivar as a presenter?
Will do.
Thank you.
Commissioners, good morning to you. President Garcia, I'll go ahead and spotlight you for everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Clear too?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good.
On occasion, we may get a little bit of feedback, but I'll let you know, but it sounds great at this time. Good morning to you, VP Villegas.
Good morning.
And I am looking for Dr. Davis and Commissioner Corzine. Commissioner Corzine, if you can hear me, if you can turn on your video cam.
I am here.
There you are. I know you're here. Give me 1 second. I'm just scrolling through the list. There you are. And Dr. Davis, if you're on the line, if you can turn on your video or audio line for us. And President Garcia, Commissioner Reyes is on an approved absence for a city business event.
Correct.
Dr. Davis, if you're on the line, if you can just turn on your video cam for us. President Garcia, let me reach out to Dr. Davis and get an ETA. We do have 3 commissioners on the line and we can establish quorum. We also have our attorney, Adina Hopenstan, on the line as well.
Okay, let's see where Davis is.
Okay, give me 30 seconds. President Garcia, he should be joining us in about 30 seconds to no more than 1 minute.
Okay, well, wait for him to.
He's just dialing in and we may see him any second now. President Garcia, Dr. Davis is experiencing some technical difficulties on his end. The computer is not allowing him to sign in. He's going to switch laptops at this time. Would you like to wait a few more minutes for him, or would you like to establish quorum and he can join us once he has his technical, once he is able to log in?
Yes. Let me give me 1 minute myself too.
Okay.
So I'll hang on for. Okay, I'm ready. But I am.
Okay, let me go ahead and start the recording for you, and I will look out for Dr. Davis once he joins us.
Great, thank you for that.
And Commissioner Corzine, if you can turn on your video cam, we are going to get started and establish quorum for us.
Thank you for that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Friday, October 7, 2022. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for today. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, and Commissioner Corzine. President Garcia, you do have a quorum at this time. President Garcia, we currently have one caller on the line under general public comment. We have no commentary from the Neighborhood Council comment section. We also did receive one email for item number 4 that was distributed to all commissioners. In addition to that, we did receive some Google comment forms on items 2, 3, 4, and 5 that will be forwarded to all commissioners as well. Again, one caller on the line for general public comment and one letter for item number 4. In addition to that, President Garcia, there is a request to continue item number 4 for 1 week to Friday, October 14th, 2022, if there's no objections from your board. And also item number 19 for 2 weeks to Friday, October 21st, 2022. Again, item number 4. Again, item number 4, a request to continue to Friday, October 14th, and item number 19 to continue to Friday, October 21st, if there's no objections from your board.
Okay. Not any objections, commissioners? Continue.
No, I got in, Dr. Campos.
We see you, Dr. Davis.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
No objections on the continuance. We will continue item number 4 and number 19. Great. Okay, and we also have public comment. We can take public comment now, Dr. Campos.
Thank you. Caller ending in 688, caller ending in 688, if you can please unmute your microphone at this time. Thank you very much. The Board of Public Works is considering general public comment at this time. You'll have 2 minutes to speak under this category. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Diana Nicole with Los Angeles Audubon here. A recent review of 14 pending developments in the city tells us that 620 trees will be cut down, in addition to the protected treed woodlands in the city that the city permits to be destroyed at a rate of about 1 per week. And I know you know this because you are at the forefront of this. I mention this because the Earth is facing an unprecedented worldwide extinction and climate crisis. Our city is facing an unprecedented biodiversity extinction and climate crisis. Leading conservation scientists and international biodiversity organizations say that in order to avert this dual catastrophe and preserve clean air, clean water, and a stable climate, we need to protect 50% of nature by 2050. To meet that goal, we need to protect 30% of our remaining undeveloped natural areas by 2030, according to Governor Newsom's 30 by 30 initiative. That means, by the way, that we just have 7.5 years to protect 6 million acres of land. Meeting 30 by 30 will require substantial commitment to stop destroying nature and serious investments in conservation. So, like front lines of decisions that destroy nature or not. Either you work to help meet the 30 by 30 goal and help save us from climate disaster, or you don't. It's up to you, but I just want to make sure that we know about the 30 by 30 initiative here when you are making decisions about these removals. Thank you for your time, and I hope you consider this comment seriously.
Thank you so much, President Garcia. That does clear out the queue for general public comment.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for public comment this morning, and public comment is now officially closed. Thank you for that. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022. Is there a second to my motion to move this item forward and forthwith?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move the approval of the minutes for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It is officially a very long agenda today, so we will hang in there, get your water ready, your coffee ready, because we'll be here for a minute. But then tomorrow's Saturday, so there you go. And tomorrow we have a very special event, just making a little plug here. We have our tree planting event happening in Council District 1 and 13. Vice President Villegas has been leading the front on this, and so we're excited to plant. How many trees, Commissioner Villegas?
About 50.
50
Wow.
trees.
Yeah.
Very nice. Everybody's welcome. All right, moving on to item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering in all council districts. This is a task order solicitation number 55, AECOM Technical Services, Inc., pre-qualified on-call wastewater environmental engineering services consultants list. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task order to AECOM Technical Services from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering services consultants list to provide project management and process engineering support services as stated in task order number 55 with a budget authority of $8 million. And who do we have here today? Mr. Wong, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you, President Garcia. Good morning, everyone. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. The report before you is a request to award this task order solicitation to AECOM. So the background behind this task order is related to our pre-qualified on-call list, which was originally established in June of 2017. So we have a pre-qualified list of 24 consultants that specialize in wastewater and environmental engineering. So when we get a task order solicitation of this nature, this one specifically is for primarily for project management and process engineering staff augmentation. So the purpose of this task order would be for the selected firm to supply engineers and other professionals to support environmental engineering division in our pre-design, design, and bid and award and construction phases. As I mentioned previously, this task orders, when they are solicited for proposals, we issue them to the entire pre-qualified list of the 24 consultants that I mentioned. So this one specifically was issued, and on May, we received proposals. So we only received proposals from 2 of the 24 firms, AECOM and Parsons Environment and Infrastructure Group, to respond to this proposal. We reviewed the proposal based on a group of 5 different criterias, weighting each one of those criterias based on capability of the firm to provide process and project management services, the candidate's overall project management and process engineering experience, the value offered to the city based on the cost, the candidate's knowledge of city facilities, procedures, practices, and then past performance and success by the consultant in securing work on the pre-qualified list. So in the proposal, AECOM scored the highest. AECOM's proposal included business inclusion. The business inclusion programs required outreach. For this task order, we were anticipating participation levels of 18% minority business enterprise, 4% women business enterprise, 25% small business enterprise, 8% emerging business enterprise, and 3% disabled business, veteran business enterprises. And AECOM pledged for the MBE participation of 18.88%, WBE participation levels of 11.75%, SBE participation levels of 27.63%, EBE participation levels of 15.13%, and DVBE participation levels of 3%. So AECOM is pledging to meet or exceed all of the anticipated BIP levels set for this task order solicitation. So we are expecting some excellent work from AECOM and its sub-consultants on this task. So as I mentioned before, this is a staff augmentation TOS, so various work will come up as this TOS is executed. So we do have currently 22 projects in our pre-design phase, which are valued at over $220 million. So we do expect AECOM to assist on a variety of those projects and upcoming projects, including potential emergency projects that may come up and so on and so forth. I'm happy to answer any questions about the selection of AECOM at this point, and that concludes my my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan, for that very thorough report. Commissioners, any questions? No question. Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Just a quick question on the contract itself. I know it's 5 years, it's $8 million, but only $1.6 million is identified. Was there a similar contract before? And did we utilize the full amount in the duration of that contract?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So there's what we considered our pre-qualified on-call list, which is the underlying master contract. So each of the 24 firms have that contract. And so as items of work come up, whether it's staff augmentation or maybe a project-specific task order, we propose that to the list to accept proposals, and then they're scored, and then the overall winning firm is selected. So for this task order 55, there was an original task order 1, which was issued back in 2017 when the list was originally established. So the overall on-call list was also extended an additional 5 years back in May by the board. There was approval to extend the list by another 5 years, so that this overall on-call list, pre-qualified on-call list, will remain active until 2027. But the original task order solicitation that supplied staff augmentation to Environmental Engineering Division for PM and process engineering support was known as Task Order 1. That was valued also at $8 million with this ceiling. We requested an increase of $1.8 million. So the overall original task order that this one will be replacing for the upcoming 5 years, that one actually exceeded the original $8 million value due to identified projects over the course of that original 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson and Ethan. Any other questions to the Bureau of Engineering? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
Move it.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulations now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ethan, you are on your way to doing this. Have a happy Friday.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, this is in Council District 15. This is Construction Services Contract Cisco and Task Work Orders, Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant, Check Valves Replacement at Tertiary Filter Project, Capital Improvement Project 8554. Recommending the board to 1, authorize the city engineer to use the Cisco and issue task work orders to the contractor for the amount not to exceed $600,000 for the Capital Improvement Project 8554 Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Check Valves at Tertiary Filter Project. Ethan, how did I know it was going to still be you?
You're good, by President Garcia. Thank you once again. Good morning, everyone. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering Environmental Engineering Division. So this second report that we are presenting on is a request to use our construction services contract, also known as Cisco, to issue task work orders to our Cisco contractor to do this important work at the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant. So currently, the TI plant has 5 24 diameter tertiary filter influent check valves upstream of the plant's tertiary filters. So in the wastewater treatment process, preliminary treatment happens, which is large screening through our headworks facility. Then we'll have primary treatment that removes the bulk of the solids from the wastewater. Then it'll move on to secondary, where additional smaller solids are again removed, and then you move on to what's called tertiary effluent. So that in this tertiary treatment, which happens after our secondary treatment, there are filters that further filter out solids from the water before it is advanced to our advanced water purification facility at the Terminal Island plant. So these check valves, what they do is prevent the backflow of water back into the influent piping. So when the valve closes, what we have is a effect called water hammer. And water hammer is basically like a strong, you're trying to basically stop water from moving. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of force and causes excessive vibration, which can cause wear and tear on both the piping and the valves. So these check valves have gone under a lot of stress and are now prone to excessive wear and tear and need to be replaced. So we're requesting in this project to replace these 5 valves. In addition, the tertiary filter tanks have several leaks, so we will be repairing those leaks as well. There's also some other ancillary items that we will be repairing, but all related to the tertiary filters. And all of this work is valued at roughly $600,000. Because of the nature of the repair work, the speed we need to get this done, Cisco remains the ideal project delivery vehicle to get the work done. So we are requesting to issue, task work orders not to exceed $600,000 to our current Cisco contract, which is Murray Company. And that pretty much covers everything in the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
Thank you, Ethan. You explained it really nicely on what this, what we're actually paying for and what needs to be repaired. I really understood, the whole process of this. So thank you for that. Any questions, commissioners, to Mr. Wong?
Yeah, I just have a basic question, Mr. Wong, in terms of the time that it will take to do the project. Obviously, you're going to move expeditiously upon approval, or if approved. But how long will this take in terms of completing the project? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm expecting the overall work would probably be in the 6 to 8 month range overall, with procurement and whatnot of the valves, the necessary valves.
So in fact, during the time in which construction is taking place, how does that impact the operation of the system while we are waiting that length of time for repair to be completed?
So the system remains functional. We have a lot of dedicated staff out on Terminal Island that provide necessary maintenance to keep these facilities up and running during this time. Obviously, as we mentioned, they're near the end of their service, but they are still functional. But we are working to replace these before we have a full failure. So there won't be any disturbance to services down at Terminal Island while we're procuring and while we're doing the work. We will work with the plant staff to bypass necessary processes while we install valves and whatnot. So that's how we continue to facilitate our work. We work very closely with plant operation and maintenance staff to make sure there are no interruption to the services.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, for that. All right. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I'll second it. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by me to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Korsman.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Wong. I don't think you're here for the third one. Moving on to item number 3. Have a good weekend, Ethan.
You too.
Item number 3, this is in Council District 5. This is street closure, Metro West Side Purple Line Extension Project, Section 1, Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard, October 7, 2022 to February 13, 2023. So colleagues, I was trying to get away of not reading this huge text. Larry, we really seriously have to have a conversation about this. I was trying to get away with it, but I have been informed by our esteemed city attorney that it's very important that I should read the whole thing. So here we go, guys. Drink your water, your juice, and just hear me in the background. This is recommending the board to 1, find that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority West Side Purple Line Extension Project Section 1 Draft Environment Impact Statement, Environmental Impact Report, EIS, EIR, and Final EIS, EIR. And I'm sorry, I'm going to kind of give a little pause there. Dr. Campos, I'm sorry, did we have public comment on this one?
No, we do not.
Okay. I'll proceed. Recommendation number 2, find under the California Public Resources Code Section 21166 and the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record that since certification of the EIS/EIR, there have been no changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure being undertaken would require subsequent EIR or supplemental EIR. Recommendation number 3, adopt the March 2012 Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, MMRP, Appendix 1 of the final EIS/EIR prepared by the Metro as it pertains to construction impacts. Recommendation number 4, find that under CEQA guidelines, section 15091, that changes have been incorporated into the project, which substantially lessens the significant environmental effects as identified in the EIS/EIR. Further, find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen any significant effect the project would have on the environment. Recommendation number 5, adopt the attached CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding consideration as it pertains to the temporary street closures, and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. 6, adopt the West Side Subway Extension Section 1 Post-Record of Decision Memorandum, Fairfax decking removal and street restoration utilizing weekend closures of Wilshire Boulevard beginning October 7, 2022 at 9 p.m. to February 13, 2023 at 6 a.m. 7, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, the board located at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of Los Angeles departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. 8, consider and approve or deny the temporary full street closure of Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard for 13 non-consecutive weekends beginning October 7, 2022 through the weekend of February 10, 2023. Each weekend closure will begin on Friday at 9 p.m. and end on Monday at 6 a.m., subject to the conditions identified within this report. Phase 1, Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding and Fairfax Avenue, weekend 1, October 7 to October 10, 2022, weekend 2, October 14 to October 17, weekend 3, October 21st to October 24, weekend 4, October 28th to October 31st, all in 2022, weekend 5, November 4 to November 7, Veterans Day, no work, November 11, and through November 14, 2022. Weekend 6, November 18 through November 21st, Thanksgiving, there will be no work, November 25th through November 28th. Weekend 7, holiday moratorium exemption requested December 2nd through December 5th, 2022. And also December 9 through December 12, holiday moratorium, no work. December 16 to December 19, Christmas, no work. December 23rd and through December 26, 2022. New Year's, no work. And December 30th to January 2nd of 2023. Phase 2, Wilshire Boulevard, Fairfax Avenue, weekend 8, January 6 to January 9, 2023. Weekend 9, January 13 to January 16 of 2023. Phase 3, Wilshire Boulevard between Fairfax Avenue and Crescent Heights, weekend 10, January 20th to the 23rd of the 2023. Weekend 11, January 27th to the 30th, February 3rd. Weekend 12, February 3rd to the February 6th. And weekend 13, February 10th to February 13 on 2023. Number 9, consider and approve or deny the peak hour exemption request to allow construction work during morning peak hours from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Monday mornings for the weekend closure listed in recommendation number 8 above. And 10, consider and approve or deny the holiday moratorium exception request to allow work during the weekend on December 2nd to December 5th of 2022. This is weekend number 7 on recommendation number 8 above. And I think that is the end of this long book, Mr. Larry.
Good morning, and thank you. And I apologize for the lengthy recommendations. You're always so good about reading them. I am joined today with Curtis Tran and Ray Saldivar to both help answer questions and also read in our oral report. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ray to read in the report.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Reynaldo Saldivar. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering's Metro Transit Division. The project for this closure is the West Side Purple Line Extension Section 1 project, which extends the Purple Line subway from its existing terminus at Wilshire Western Station and goes west 3.9 miles along Wilshire Boulevard and constructs 3 new stations at Wilshire La Brea, Wilshire Fairfax, and Wilshire La Cienega, which is in the city of Beverly Hills. The street closure request before you is associated with the Wilshire Fairfax station. Metro and their contractor, STSJV, are requesting a series of temporary street closures of Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard for 13 non-consecutive weekends starting October 7th, 2022 and ending February 13th, 2023 to facilitate the temporary decking removal and street restoration work associated with the future Wilshire Fairfax station. All major submittals associated with the work to be performed for this closure have been approved by BOE. LADOT has reviewed and approved the worksite traffic control plans for this proposed closure and does not expect this work to result in any substantial traffic impacts. In addition, we have the Traffic Management Committee, which will continue to review traffic impacting permits to minimize any conflicts with ongoing construction permit activities in the vicinity of this closure. As a part of BOE's review, our Environmental Management Division has reviewed the environmental documentation associated with this street closure and finds that the recommendation in the report should fulfill the board's obligation under CEQA. Council District 5 had initially indicated their support for the peak hour exemptions and holiday moratorium exemptions on Wilshire Boulevard associated with this closure request, but they have since rescinded their support. In addition, Metro's public relations team has performed public outreach for this closure and has scheduled virtual meetings with the affected stakeholders in the area of this closure. That concludes my report. We have staff here from BOE, LADOT, Metro, and their contractor online to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saldivar. I see Larry has looped you into this huge item. Great. Commissioners, any questions on this item?
Let's see.
Hang on, Dr. Davis, Vice President Villegas, and then I'll call you.
Sure, not
Sorry.
a problem. Not a problem.
Thank you. I appreciate the report from BOE, and thanks Metro and DOT staff for also being on the call. Just wanted to review, and I know I've talked about this just in my briefings, but if we could just put it on for a public record, just on the outreach, the public outreach that was done just for the public, so that they know what kind of meetings were had, how the turnout was, all that kind of information. That would be helpful. Thank you.
Vice President Villegas, it's a little hard to hear you. You might want to just get closer to the, sorry, I think it was just, is it just me that couldn't hear or? Okay, got it.
I was just asking if our Metro public outreach folks could just talk to the outreach that was done. That was all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Anyone from Metro can chime in on that?
Yeah, I think we have Casey Shuda from Metro. She's the public relations representative, so she can go into specific detail.
Yes, hello commissioners. Can you hear me? Casey Shuda from Metro here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having us today. In terms of outreach for this specific activity, in addition to the Purple Line quarterly community meetings where we discuss this work in May, August, and October. We also held 2 specific meetings just for this work because we know it is so long and impactful. We held a meeting in July during lunchtime and then another one in August in the evening. And that was to make sure we could get as many people as possible. We also presented to local neighborhood councils, Mid-City West, Pico Neighborhood Council, Greater Miracle Mile Chamber of Commerce, to representatives from the Carthay Circle HOA. We also did door-to-door distribution of 8,000 notices, and that's within a half mile of the Fairfax station. Business outreach, boots on the ground, door-to-door outreach for all the businesses impacted in the area. We also left the construction notices at local schools, libraries, senior centers, the Westside Jewish Community Center. And then our construction notices were sent out via email blasts, on our website, via social media, which is Facebook, Waze, Nextdoor, Twitter, Metro service alerts, and then paid advertising, both print and digital.
Wonderful. Thank you. It sounds very comprehensive. Just wanted to put that on for the public record as well. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. I agree that that was a very nice explanation of what you done. Dr. Davis, you had a question as well?
In terms of the report, I know that he mentioned that I guess District 5, is it, well, how many districts does this particular project go through? Is it just one, or is it 10 as well as 5? This project?
This project for the Fairfax Station decking is only covered by CD5.
Okay.
Along the entire Purple Line alignment, we do touch CD10 down at the Western Station, but that's about 2 miles away from this activity.
I see. And so you mentioned that CD5 had some comments or remarks about the project. Are they here? I guess they're not. Then my other issue would be small businesses. Any feedback from small businesses, and do they qualify for the project that we do for some of the small businesses, the fund? Do any of the businesses in this particular region qualify for that?
Yes, we have 2 business assistance programs here. One is Eat Shop Play, where we provide free marketing services for businesses. And then the big one is the Business Interruption Fund. So businesses within the Fairfax Station area qualify. And to date, in Purple Line Section 1, we have awarded 92 businesses,
Okay.
total number of 268 grants for $6.7 million. And then specifically here at Wilshire, we've had 39 grants for a total of $1.3 million, and that's the end of September. So businesses can qualify during this work activity as well.
Great. Looks like we're making reasonable progress in terms of the work that we're doing in this area. And I realize our overall vision is, I guess, to get to UCLA by 2024. I think that was the date we had mentioned in earlier reports. And I know in order to get there, we've got to go through this area in order to achieve our overall vision. So thank you for the update. And it looks to me that we have really done a comprehensive job in terms of outreach and touching bases with the critical stakeholders in the area. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Agreed. Any other questions, colleagues? I'm not seeing any. Larry, can we look at recommendation 9 and 10? Because under 9 and 10, we have consider, approve, or deny. I almost feel like we need to approve or deny. Do we want to also close during our moratorium construction, right? Is that, can you go more into 9 and 10, please?
Sure. Right. This is a little bit different recommendation that we normally do. We usually say approve. As part of both of those processes, our procedures for peak hour exemption and for holiday moratorium exemption, we usually require the council district to concur with what's being asked. So in this case, Council District 5 has withdrawn their concurrence. So we kind of changed our recommendation to more of a neutral recommendation. As far as both of those considerations, all the other requirements associated with peak hours and holiday moratoriums exemptions have been fulfilled, with the exception of the concurrence from CD5.
Okay, so do we need to do any special approval on 8, 9, and 10? It's 8 also is part of it, has the same wording.
We would, recommend, changing it to either approve or deny.
Okay, understood. Just because.
I have one other procedural question.
Dr. Davis.
In terms of us implementing this project and the alternative routes that citizens will have to go through, we are adhering to an earlier discussion that the board had with MTA on the project, which is making sure that we have people available prior to the intersection where construction is going on, giving notification as to how to go through alternative routes, particularly in peak hours and or when there are special events. We have had in the past discussions that MTA would have people like a mile out or signatures or signs a mile out so that we have appropriate signing where constituents can read and make the traffic choices they need to make to avoid the confusion that will occur because of the work that we're doing. Are we implementing that kind of process in this one? I know in the other areas of the city, we've had that conversation a year ago at least. And I just want to make sure that this is the same situation, that we are putting forth an extra effort to inform the residents, because it's a very populated area, to know that there's a big construction site coming up and that they can make alternative choices if they choose to do so.
Thanks, Commissioner Davis. I'd like to ask Metro to respond to that question. My understanding is, some of those details are handled by the project team, but also within the traffic plan that's approved by DOT. But somebody that's closer to those plans would be better suited to answer. Is there somebody from Metro that can help with this question?
Yeah, Casey Shuda again. All of our plans include advanced CMS signs, so changeable message signs that we can wheel and place in various locations around the detour route. So giving people ample notice to make turns or alternate decisions as they head into the closure area and are impacted by the signage for our prescribed detours. So we do have different detour routes for each of the segments of our construction. There are several CMS, changeable message signs, out there as you approach the closure, indicating detour routes and alternative methods.
Great, thank you so much.
Very well, thank you. I agreed on that. It's especially important on these weekend holidays. Very important to have those signs up. So thank you, Dr. Davis, for making sure that this was part of it. I'm gonna say as amended, approve, because if we're approving item recommendation, almost I feel we're approving a recommendation at 8. It almost is part of this. So I would say as amended, 8, 9, and 10, approve. What does that work, Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President Garcia, to answer your question, yes, if your board were to consider approving this item as amended, the amendments would apply to recommendations 8, 9, and 10. And if your board wanted to approve all, we can go ahead and make that for the record as amended. It looks to me item recommendation 8 and 10 are in concert with each other simply because the moratorium is listed as weekend 7. Recommendation number 9 can stand alone by itself, so your board could consider taking a different action for 9 if your board wanted to consider that exemption or not. So in short, your board could adopt this report as amended and then reflect approvals on 8, 9, and 10, or another option would be a variation of a denial in recommendation number 9.
Okay, agreed. I think I think it's my feedback, if anything. What I'll do, colleagues, if you guys are okay, we can set this on the table as amended on 8, 9, and 10. Approve 8, 9, and 10 as amended, and approve the overall item number 3.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Was that clear, Dr. Campos? This is the first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 3 forward and forthwith as amended on recommendations 8, 9, and 10. Approval of 8, 9, and 10.
Very clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So it's the first by me and a second by Dr. Davis.
Great. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation if there's no further discussion by your board.
Hearing none.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation now. President Garcia, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous, adopting item number 3 as amended. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Larry, for your time,
Thank you.
and thank you to the Metro team for being here. Appreciate you all. And yes, let's make sure we have ample notice to all of our constituents around. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to item number 4, which is now continued. So we will skip over item number 4 at this time. And Dr. Campos, but I believe we had a comment on item number 4. Did our caller wants to wait until we hear it?
I believe the caller is no longer on the line. Since the item was continued, there was no public comment on this item. However, your board could read it back into the record, take public comments, and then close it back out. That would have been a different option. I do not see caller ending in 688 on the line, but just for the record, caller ending in 688, if you're still on the line, if you could please raise your hand. Seeing caller ending in 688, they're no longer on the line for item number 4. Again, this item was continued officially from your board this morning.
Correct. Okay, moving on. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5. This is a joint report by Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 8. Contract acceptance, sidewalk repair program, small sidewalk repair access request, acceleration package number 17, recommending the board to 1, accept this contract. And I'm going to read item number 6 to Mr. Bagby. Item number 6 is also a Bureau of Contract Administration and a Bureau of Engineering report. These are in Council Districts 1, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15. Contracts acceptance, sidewalk repair program, package number 47, recommending the board to 1, accept this contract. Welcome, Mr. Bagby. How are you?
Outstanding. Good morning, President Garcia and Commissioners. Would you like for me to proceed? All right.
Yes.
This is a recommendation to accept these 2 contracts. The first project took place in Council District 8. This is part of our sidewalk repair program, acceleration package number 17. On April 21st, 2021, this board executed a contract in the amount of $70,964.74 with Access Construction under contract number C128479. A notice to proceed was issued on May 26, 2021, and the work was completed on September 15, 2021. This project provided for the reconstruction of sidewalks to meet ADA standards. There were 2 change orders issued on this project, which decreased the amount of the contract. So our final contract amount is $62,775.56. The project was completed at 11.5% below the awarded amount, and the final corrections were completed by our contractor on September 15th, 2021. A final release of retained funds in the amount of $2,549.29 was processed on October 15th, 2021. Funding was provided by the Road Maintenance Rehabilitation Program Special Fund. Our contractor has complied with the equal employment opportunity and labor compliance requirements of this contract. The contractor performance evaluation reports have been submitted. There are no unresolved property owner complaints in connection with this project. There are no funds disputed or withheld, and there are no funds due to our contractor. So I'll proceed to our next project. That work took place in Council Districts 1, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15. This also is part of our project, our sidewalk repair program, package number 47. And a contract was issued by this board in the amount of $3,281,484 to Mike Perlich and Sons under contract number C133000. A notice to proceed was issued on February 18th, 2020. The work was complete on September 21st, 2021. This project too provided for the reconstruction of sidewalks to meet ADA standards. Now, this project was awarded for $3,281,484. There were 5 change orders issued on this project, which decreased the contract amount. So our final contract amount was $3,022,379.37. This project was completed at 7.9% below the awarded amount. So final corrections were completed by our contractor on September 21st, 2021. A final release of retained funds in the amount of $144,749.67 was processed on January 24th, 2022. I'll state that date again. The final release of retained funds was processed on January 24, 2022. Now, the funds were provided by the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program Special Fund. Our contractor has complied with the equal employment opportunity and labor compliance requirements of this contract. The contractor performance evaluation reports have been submitted, and there are no unresolved property owner complaints in connection with this project. There are no funds disputed or withheld. There are no funds due to our contractor. So we recommend acceptance of both of these construction contracts.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bagby, for your report. Very thorough. Glad to hear there was no objections, no setbacks. Everything's went well, and we're ready to close it out. Colleagues, any questions on this item? Hearing none. Is there a second to my motion to move items number 5 and 6 forward and forthwith? I saw Dr. Davis say second.
Second.
I think I saw your lips. I was like, I know. Thank you. Dr. Campos, is a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 5 and 6 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bagby, for your report. I appreciate all the work you do. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, moving on to item number 7. This is in all council districts. This is a request from the Bureau of Sanitation and the Bureau of Contract Administration. A request for qualifications, on-call consultant list, clean water, environmental quality, solid resources, and watershed protection programs, recommending the board to 1, distribute and advertise the transmitted request for qualifications, RFQ, for on-call consultant services list to provide planning and technical support services for the Bureau of Sanitation's clean water, environmental quality, solid resources, and watershed protection programs. 2, evaluate the proposer's statement of qualifications, select and interview the proposers who submit the most qualified SOQ for the needed services based upon requirements set forth in the RFQ. 3, negotiate contract or contracts with the most qualified responsive proposers after the evaluation process. And 4, return to the Board of Public Works for authority to award and execute the negotiated contract or contracts subject to Mayor and City Council approval. And we have Ms. Epps here. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, President Garcia. Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. As background for this is, oh, forgot, sorry. I'm from Sanitation, the Administration Division, Centralized Contracts Unit, Wanda Epps. As background for this item, on January 13, 2012, the Board of Public Works authorized Sanitation to advertise and issue a request for qualifications to provide engineering consulting services on an as-needed basis and negotiate a personal services contract with each of the selected firms. On July 23, 2014, the board executed a 5-year contract with 25 consulting engineering firms with an optional 5-year renewal. On July 15, 2019, the board authorized Sanitation to exercise the 5-year renewal option with 24 consulting firms. The extension contract expires on July 22nd, 2024. Sanitation asked to advertise a new request for qualifications to reestablish an on-call consultant services list of up to 24 consultants to provide planning, scientific, and technical support services for all of LA Sands programs. To evaluate proposers, statement of qualifications, select and interview the proposers, negotiate with the most qualified responsive proposers, then return to the board for authority to award and execute contracts with the selected proposers. The on-call list is needed to provide services on an emergency and as-needed basis to meet specialized needs where long-term staffing is not feasible and existing staffing is not available or are unable to perform the required tasks. We need to meet regulatory challenges and mandates which require specialized analysis and responses. We need to meet quick demands that sometimes create short-lived increases in the workload that cannot be fully absorbed by the existing staff while maintaining current customer service levels. In some instances, the type of technical analysis and work that we need exceeds the capability of LA Sands in-house staff. The request for qualifications process to establish an on-call list is much faster than doing a request for a proposal for each project. So this concludes my briefing, and I'll be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Ms. Epps, for your report on this.
You're welcome.
This is a nice way to get more help, definitely. But
Yes.
Commissioners, any questions on this item? I'm seeing none. Any objections?
Yeah, let me ask, in terms of,
Sure.
what are we proposing, Ms. Epps, in terms of the numbers of vendors overall for this on-call list?
Up to 24,
Okay, great,
which is our current level.
great, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. And I know you'll be coming back to the board to approve the final authority for those contracts,
For
right?
the contracts, yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't hear any issues or objections on this item. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 7 forward and forthwith?
So move.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 7 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis
Aye.
and Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Epps, for your time this morning, and we look forward to putting this list together.
Yes, so do we. Thank you very much,
Great.
Commissioners, for your time.
You too. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
Moving on to item number 8. This is in Council District 6. This is funding sources, Cesar Chavez Recreation Center Street Improvement Projects. Recommendation number 1, approve the use of the funding sources in lieu of fund number 43K, Department number 10, appropriation unit number 100K M07 for the total amount of $167,000 for this task order. And 2, authorize the Bureau of Engineering to make any technical corrections or clarification to the above instructions to effectuate in the intent of this motion. And Ms. Nur, you are here with us today. Good morning.
Good morning, President. Good morning, Commissioners. Norm Alhus, Senior Civil Engineer, Architecture Division, Bureau of Engineering. On August 12, 2022, the Board of Public Works adopted Board Report Number 1, which authorized the city engineer to issue task order number 25 to Somas and Associates from the 2019 pre-qualified on-call civil engineering consultants list to provide civil engineering services for the Cesar Chavez Recreation Center improvement project with the budget authority not to exceed $167,000. The board report identified that the funding in the amount of $167,000 for this task order was available from fund number 43K, department number 10, appropriation unit 10K MO7. This funding source will not be used for the board report and will need to be revised accordingly. So we therefore move that the board approve the use of the funding sources listed in table number 1 in lieu of the Prop K funding, which was fund number 43K, department number 10, appropriation unit 10K MO7 for the full amount of $167,000. And those funding sources are 4 funding sources listed on SB1 funds for $167,000. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you, Nur, for your report. Nur, with this amount, is this to further improve the park, or what will you be doing with this amount?
Well, this amount was, as part of the original board report, was to do some additional, work that's needed to finish the project of the park. So this will be, essentially additional curb ramp provisions, construction administration, plan reformatting, street tree protection, and some electrical design support.
Great, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you very much. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 8 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Corson. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Corson and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 8 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Nur, for your time this morning. Look forward to finishing that park.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 9. This is in Council District 15. This is a bid rejection. Council District number 15, 116th Tiny Home Village and Parking Improvement Project. 1, recommending the board to 1, reject all bids for the project. And we have Ms. Quiñones here. Good morning, Ms. Quiñones. Good to see you.
Good morning, President Garcia. Good morning, Commissioners. Marina Quiñones, Bureau of Engineering, Architectural Division. This morning's motion is to reject all bids for CD15 Tiny Home Village. This is on 116th Place. This is the Avalon Park and Ride in CD15. The site is owned by Caltrans. The city was going to lease the site for homeless shelter, providing 41 beds. The project was advertised on July 25th. Bids were received on August 17th. Towards the end of August, CD15 updated BOE and the CAO's office that the community had brought up some concerns regarding a nearby school. The school is 116th Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to the concerns, the council office has requested that we do not proceed to award the project so that the new council member can address the concerns. The project at this point will be on hold until next year. That concludes my report. I'll answer any questions you may have.
I don't have any questions, but I have some comments. I appreciate the careful analysis in terms of really critically looking at where we're going to place projects. And always when we have schools, and particularly in this case, an elementary school, this reflects the values of not only the board, but of the administration. We want to make sure that we place our facilities in a place that's compatible with the environment. So I can have the utmost respect and appreciation for this critical analysis that has been done. I think it's very good that the new council person also will have an opportunity to implement a solution moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Thank you, Marina. So when we were opening this up for bid, did the council office or any community members express concern at that time, or was it after we opened up for bids?
It was after, yeah, it's more recent. This project has actually been going on for about a year with the collaboration of Caltrans just having to, deal with their FHWA and all the requirements. So it's been going on for about a year, but most recently is when the concerns were brought up to the council office.
And does CD15 have any tiny home villages?
CD15 has a bridge home. They have three bridge home projects, and they have one in Harbor, a tiny home village in Harbor, run by Salvation Army.
And in terms of the sensitive use and community, concerns, how is that consistent with what we've heard from other council districts in similar fashions, or is it just specific to where this location is? I'm just trying to see if there's a pattern of concern that maybe we can address more on a citywide scale than council district by council district.
Mm-hmm. So I believe recently, yes. If you recall, we had to cancel another tiny home village, CD9, because they had similar concerns with the shelter being nearby a school. So this is the second situation where we have confronted this sort of cancellation due to opposition. It has not happened before, but again, these are the two schools that are there. These are the two projects that are near schools.
Okay, I raise this issue because I don't believe that just because a project is next to a school, it should be disqualified. I think we need these sites all over, and unless there are environmental concerns, I don't know what the issue would be. But I agree that maybe it is up to the next council member. I just know that in certain parts we are doing Project Home Key or Room Key. I get those two confused sometimes. Across the street from high schools and middle schools in the valley, and certain council members and council offices are really putting an emphasis on finding as many sites as they can. And I just don't want to have a pattern where we're excluding sites just because they're next to a school or another sensitive use rather than legitimate environmental issues. So I just wanted to say that on the record. But Marina, thank you for your report.
Yeah, I would add that our practice, if you would review it, has been that we do not put issues like this near particularly elementary schools, and particularly in underserved areas like South LA. What I have noticed from this conversation is that both of the most recent ones that has been called to our attention were both in South LA. The 9th district and this one in the 15th district. So I don't know what the landscape is in other areas of the city, but I do know when we have projects that impact children, we are very conscientious about whether or not we place something there that might have an adverse impact upon children, and particularly children in underserved area where they may not have the kind of infrastructure of support and groups that would advocate on their behalf. That has been the city of Los Angeles' past practice, if you'll look at similar kinds of projects.
Dr. Davis, respectfully, I have looked and I do agree, but I do know that, consistently with homeless counts, children are homeless. So a sensitive use of we're going to not allow tiny homes or any type of housing for the unhoused near schools seems to ignore the fact that children in the city are housing insecure, and across the city, children are homeless. And I don't think that should be just a broad catch-all of not having opportunities to house children near schools.
Mm-hmm. Well, our practice after 30 years of having worked in South LA at every level of government, from city to federal government, and serving as an administrator legislatively in all of those areas in South LA, that has been our past practice.
Oh, great. I appreciate the conversation that we're both that we're all having here. It is really much needed. But I want to take us a step back also, one of my instructions to Marina was as we move forward and we ourselves, in BOE, starts looking at the site, if there is a school nearby, there's the point of contact, a point of tension here. We really need to take almost like a double, triple confirmation to move forward, because what's happening is that the Bureau of Engineering spends resources, time, and design time for this, and then we've already basically taken back 2 bids on this. So what I don't want is for BOE to kind of go through this very extenuous design procedure, and then once we're close to making it happen, we're told it can't happen no more. So regardless of where we want to put them, I just want to make sure that where we start putting them, Marina, that we do like almost a triple confirmation, saying, hey, we're gonna do here, right? Because we're about to start and inputting a lot of resources to this, because design is not cheap, and design takes a very long time, and we have our engineers and our architects putting a lot of effort into it, and then we kind of get told after, we're not going to do this anymore. So I want to avoid that piece of it. We can continue to have the discussion of the community of where it goes and so forth, but that's, I want to make sure that BOE almost gets some sign-off confirmation from every party we can before we start something like this, and not spend our resources in something that's not going to go through at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you, President Garcia. One thing that I can share with you all that we are looking at now and having conversations, when we do bring forward our award board report, we usually include information in regards to community outreach. And so we have shared that, we do want to continue filling that in. I think some offices have not given us input in regards to that, and we brought it forward without much. And so we do definitely want to include that into future award board reports. And so that'll be a consistent item now that you will be looking at in the award board.
Oh, good.
Just ensuring that there is community outreach and there is support. And so we'll do our best to definitely include that. But as you all know, community outreach is a council office decision. But we will definitely, communicate the concerns.
Agreed. Thank you very much. Okay, so today we're here to reject this tiny home village in Council District 15. Are there any oh no, I'm sorry, this is the one that will be next council member, next council office will take direction. Got it. Okay, so that's not that far from now. It'll be December, so maybe in January we'll be able to see another plan for this, if anything. Okay, got it. Commissioners, any other questions, concerns, point of comments? Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 9 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Villegas to move item number 9 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation at this time. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
Thank you,
Commissioner.
I heard you and I.
I heard an aye as well. Motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marina, for your time this morning, and look forward to hearing more of your projects always.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Moving on to item number 10. This is in Council District 13. This is an AFE for State Water Resources Control Board. Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $179,900,000 to encumber funds to pay for the annual NPDES and stormwater fees as required by the state of California for the period covering July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And I believe I can take item number 10 and number 11 together as well, right, Mr. Gonzalez? This is in Council District 6. This is an AFE for State Water Resources Control Board. Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval for the execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $580,450 to encumber funds to pay for the annual NPDES and stormwater fees as required by the state of California for the period covering July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. And this morning we have Mr. Fernando Gonzalez joining us. Good morning, all the way from San Francisco.
I wish, but not. Good morning, President Garcia, commissioners, legal counsel, executive officer, and bureau representatives. So this is our annual bill to cover both our water reclamation plans in Water Reclamation Division. My name is Fernando Gonzalez. I'm the division manager of Water Reclamation Division. We oversee both the Donald C. Tillman and the Los Angeles Glendale water reclamation plants. So with the State Resources Control Board, we got 2 permits. One is related to the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, and the other one is for the General Industrial Stormwater Permit. So we got the bill, and now we have to pay the piper.
We have to pay our bill. Now we have to pay our bills.
Yes.
Here we go. Got it. All right, colleagues, any questions on item 10 or 11? Any objections? Hearing none, is there a second to my motion to move items 10 and 11 forward and forthwith?
Second.
Thank you. I'm going to take them from both. I'm going to take from Dr. Davis and from Commissioner Vice President Villegas a second on items 10 and 11. Dr. Campos.
Yes, we'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. Again, this is for 10 and 11 together. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Davis, aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. This is for items 10 and 11. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, is that the only items you have? Oh, there you go. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your time.
Same to you. It's nice to see you also. Thank you.
All right, have a good weekend, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Moving on to item number 12. This is an AFE in Council Districts 5 and 13. This is an AFE from the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $50,000 for participation in the fiscal year 2020-21 LA River outreach and monitoring activities from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 at the Sepulveda Basin and Elysian Valley. And today we have Ms. Pam Perez from the Bureau of Sanitation. Good morning, Pam. You're on mute, ma'am.
Light plans. Good morning, President Garcia and esteemed commissioners. Thank you so much for having me this morning. My name is Pamela Perez. I am the marketing manager for LA Sanitation and Environment, handling our sponsorships, memberships, and other duties. Today we're here to talk about MRCA, which is the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. They manage 75,000 acres of parkland in the Los Angeles region. They're the lead agency revitalizing the LA River and its regulated and underserved park core communities, according to Cal EnviroScreen data. They own and manage the parks along the river. Historically, their operating costs are $200,000 to $300,000 annually, and they do run at a deficit. So LA San sponsors them in order to help subsidize some of their costs. Historically, we would sponsor them at a rate of $100,000 annually, but due to the pandemic in 2020 closing the recreation zones to kayaking, we scaled back that sponsorship to $50,000. Despite the no guided kayaking in that 2020 season, their designated recreation zones were still open in the Elysian Valley and Sepulveda Basin, and that allowed residents to walk, fish, bird watch, and used non-motorized boats at no cost. The money that we give to them is spent on the following. It's for gates, locks, security, and other signage, for encampment cleanup that doesn't involve LA Sand, for weather notifications and river cleaning, all of that done in conjunction with the LA Conservation Corps and occasionally LA Sand teams, as well as river cleaning. We supplement them with roll-offs and hazardous waste disposal, and they also have ranger staff with river safety that is subsidized by all of this. So today we are asking for the $50,000 to pay that invoice for 2020.
Great. Thank you for that explanation. Any questions for Ms. Perez? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. I think we're all excited about this. Thank you very much. Is there a second to my motion to move item number 12 forward and forthwith?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 12 forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll go ahead and start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pam, for your time this morning. You are all set to go unless you're here for the next item.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. Moving on to item number 13. This is in all council districts. This is also an AFE for the County Sanitation District Number 2, Calabasas. Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $90,000 for contingent refuse disposal and transfer services provided at the Calabasas landfill and for green waste processing when significant delays are experienced at the city's primary facilities for the term of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. And we have Mr. Rosca here this morning on this item. Good morning, Mr. Rosca.
Morning, President Garcia. Can you hear me all right? Okay, great. Good morning, President Garcia, Commissioners Villegas, Corzan, and Davis, Bureau Representative, City Attorney, Executive Officer James Rosca, Acting Environmental Engineer with LA Sand and Environment. LA Sand is responsible for the curbside collection of our black, blue, green, and brown bin program for our single-family households. And we collect approximately 3,600 tons per day of black bin material. For our residents up in the valley, that material is brought directly to the Sunshine Canyon landfill, which is our primary landfill. And for those residents living in our southern districts, including North Central, South LA, West LA, and the Harbor, most of that material is brought through Clark, our Central LA Recycling Transfer Station, as well as other transfer stations. In the event that we have delays at our primary landfill, which is Sunshine Canyon, we do have contracted facilities that allow us to have that backup contingency transfer to alternate sites. However, there are cases where those facilities are still inundated as well, kind of like a chain reaction in the system due to delays at other facilities. And we do need to have other contingent facilities to then use in that scenario. One of those facilities being the Calabasas landfill, which is owned and operated by County Sanitation Districts of LA. We do have the ability to use Calabasas through AEs, so we usually come back to the board each fiscal year getting new authorities for expenditure for Calabasas and other facilities operated by County Sanitation Districts. And we're here again for this year just to be able to use those sites on a contingency basis. So LA Sand is requesting authority for expenditure on item 13 today to be able to use Calabasas landfill in the amount of $90,000 in the event we have those kind of delays or contingency needs because of delays at our other processing facilities. County Sanitation District as a policy doesn't enter into long-term contracts for these services, so we just pay the gate rate. And that's why we come back to the board each fiscal year to establish a new authority for expenditure. The funding amount will come from the Solid Waste Resource Revenue Fund with no impact to the general fund, and we'll pay for the tip fees basically as we use the services at the facility. And in the case that we don't need to use the facility in this fiscal year, those tip fees will then just return back into the fund. And that is my presentation for today, and I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you, James, for the report. I see how we use this. Any questions for James this morning? Hearing none, I think we're all very familiar with how and why we use this site and when we use it. This is like a draw down account, right? You encumber the amount and then you draw down as we use the service?
Yes, essentially. So we would encumber the funds into the authority, and then if we we'll basically spend down against the encumbered funds or release them back into the SWIRF fund if they're not used.
Correct. Okay, got it. All right. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 13 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll take it from Commissioner Corson and the Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson and Vice President Villegas to move item number 13 forward and forthwith.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. James, you're off to go. Thank you for putting this together, and we look forward to continuing this service.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You too. Thank you. Colleagues, moving on to our administrative items for today's agenda. These will have no, well, maybe I'm wrong about this, but this is item number 14, specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids, Council District 4, North Alpha Sewer Rehabilitation Unit, Noble Avenue to Cedros Avenue, work order SCC 13461, for an estimated amount of $16,214,940. Bid receipt date November 16, 2022. We don't have a speaker on this item, right, Dr. Campos?
That is correct, President Garcia. This item is just to approve or to adopt the specifications to authorize us to advertise for this project.
Correct. Colleagues, unless there are any objections, we can move forward with item number 14. Is there a motion on the table to approve item 14?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 14 forward and forthwith.
Perfect. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 15. I am going to actually take 15, 16, and 17 together, unless there are any objections.
None at all.
All right. It is moving along here, you guys, being effective. Item number 15, this is in all council districts. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Contract Administration to execute personal service contracts with 12 pre-qualified on-call consulting firms for as-needed geotechnical and environmental engineering services. Item 16, in all council districts, the mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works to execute the proposed Second Amendment to the contract with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps for community beautification and graffiti eradication services. An increase of the contract ceiling to $24 million is approved. The board is instructed to consider the strategy of establishing initial contract terms and limits to promote efficiency. And item number 17, in all council districts, the mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works to execute the proposed request for qualification for public right-of-way beautification services. Any objections, colleagues, on any of these items? All right, is there a motion on the table to move items 15, 16, and 17 forward and forthwith? I will Thank you, Dr. Davis. I was gonna just put the motion. So I'll do the motion. Dr. Davis, you will second me for item number 15, 16, and 17.
Yes.
Campos?
Perfect. We'll start the voting tabulation again. Sorry, for this items 15, 16, and 17. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Carzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Again, this is for 15, 16, and 17. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Look forward to 17. Can't wait till that comes public. All right, moving on to item, this is now moving to our oral report section. This is item number 18. Status update on major upcoming street improvement projects by the Bureau of Street Services. And this morning we have Mr. Gopal. Good morning, Mr. Gopal. Welcome. Ready for you when you're ready. You're on mute, sir, though.
Oh, excuse me. Anyway, good morning, President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Dr. Davis, and Commissioner Carzan. The information I'm about to provide is a major street project. It's just an update to inform the public of the upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays to the commuters. Streets LA would like to provide you with an update on all major upcoming street improvement projects. There are no major street projects scheduled in the metro resurfacing region during the week of October the 9th, 2022 through October 15th, 2022. Now, the following major street projects are scheduled in the Valley resurfacing region during the week of October the 9th through October the 15th, 2022. Wednesday, October the 5th, 2022 through Sunday, October the 9th, 2022 from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will begin cold milling and paving on White Oak Avenue between Strathern to Satacoy in Council District number 12, which is the Northridge South Neighborhood Council, funding from the Pavement Preservation Fund. And on Tuesday, October the 7th through Friday, October the 14th, 2022, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will begin cold milling and paving Magnolia Boulevard, Hazeltine Avenue to Van Nuys Boulevard, which is in CD number 4, the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. Additionally, we will provide an update on our 22-23 pavement preservation program. During the week of October the 9th through October the 15th, 2022, the metro region will complete 6 projects for a total of 5.85 lane miles. During the week of October the 9th, 2022 through October the 15th, 2022, the Valley region will complete 12 projects for a total of 11.49 lane miles. The press releases were broadcasted and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council districts, offices to assist with the outreach to stakeholders, and we have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on the Streets LA website. And for additional information, you may contact Mr. Sherrod Nichols, our general manager. And that concludes my report.
Very nice. Thank you, Mr. Gopal, for your very thorough report. Colleagues, any questions to Bureau of Street Services? Hearing none, we look forward to all those completed work out there. Excited for what you guys all do. Thank you very much, Mr. Gopal. Your report is now concluded. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right. And for confirmation, Dr. Campos, item number 19 has been continued for 2 weeks, right?
And that is correct. The date will be Friday, October 21st, 2022.
Okay. All right. That seems to clear our desk, Dr. Campos.
That is correct.
All right, colleagues. It is now. Oh my God, I lost my time. It is now 11:52, Friday, October 7th. This meeting is officially adjourned. Colleagues, we will also cancel today's management meeting. Have a good weekend, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Enjoy your Friday.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.